But that's what they do. This scientists of the world right now. Again, this is our real world, and the problem is by doing so, this actually what exact or what Tannhaus did pretty much. Um, Upon doing so, there's a chance of creating a black hole. Right, so that's the problem because you're trying to split matter, and there's a possibility that you will just split that and it will become unstable and create a black hole. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, guys. Welcome to Podform, another episode of Podform. This is your boy G. By the way, I just finished watching Dark. If you haven't heard that yet, I know you're missing a lot, but go ahead and check in a Netflix called Dark, the German series about time travel, all of those stuff. But today we're gonna talk spoilers. All right, we're gonna discuss and break down Dark with one of my co-YouTuber here, Kevin Oliver. Kevin, hello.
Hi guys, glad to be here.
All
I'm
right.
Kevin from ScreenKings.
By the way, yeah, check his channel. Channel name is ScreenKings, right?
Yeah, youtube.com/ScreenKings.
All right.
We actually did a non-spoiler review, so if you're guys feeling that and you don't want to delve much on spoilers, so go ahead and check this out. But this will be a spoiler discussion.
That's right. We just did a review, a very lengthy review for The Dark as well. Season 3 specifically, a bit of talks on Season 1 and Season 2, but specifically Season 3. But that is still a spoiler-free one. So if you haven't watched Dark yet, just go ahead and check it out. And as soon as you finish watching Season 3, go back to this video and let's talk about it. All right. Now, before anything else, though, I would like to talk to Kevin about a lot of other things as well. All right, aside from Dark, this is our Podform episode. I can't remember if this is Podform episode 20 already or something, but I haven't done this in a while. But this is another episode about our Podform, so we're gonna talk about a lot of stuff. Now, very first thing that I need to know or want to know is, Kevin, if you can introduce yourself and tell
Yeah.
us, our viewer, why you started a YouTube career and when did you start it and what motivated you, in starting this career?
Yeah, so hi guys, I'm Kevin Oliver Tan. So I started doing YouTube on August 2019. I believe our first video is pertaining to Cinemalaya, coverage of Cinemalaya coverage. And I did it with my buddy there, Phil Yuvienko. So you can go check out youtube.com/ScreenKings. But really what pushed me to do YouTube, I actually started as a blogger in 2016. I write for movie websites, Film Police Reviews. Then on 2018, I started writing for Cinema Bravo. So from then, I decided to shift to do video content because one, they're more interactive, and two, I felt like there are more opportunities on YouTube. So I invited my friend Phil, and he also wants to start a YouTube. So we made it a duo show. So in our show in Screen Kings, I think you're gonna be listening to our discussions. We're trying to make it as insightful as possible, and we're putting out guests every now and then. And yeah, so go ahead, guys, check that out. But I am really a movie enthusiast since I was a kid, and I started laying out my reviews, publishing reviews since 2016, and I'm still learning. But yeah, this is like my really passion and my sideline. If that's if
Yeah.
the yeah.
I'm actually glad that I saw your channel back then and the content that you're creating because it's the same as mine, and I
Yeah.
haven't really seen a lot of Tagalog and Filipino YouTubers out there focusing or doing this kind of content, producing reviews because I think we are a little bit helpful, right, for other people that are also looking for movies or films to watch, especially in Netflix, Netflix series. So I think we can help a lot of people out here. And if you check in YouTube, not a lot of Filipino are doing this, right? Probably a couple of foreign, but not a lot of Filipinos. So I really appreciate that, and I'm super pumped in I'm seeing more of your reviews. So I've been seeing you're putting up a lot of reviews recently. So go ahead and
Yeah.
check his channel, guys. It's Screen Kings. If you're into indie films or some other movies, HBO, right? I've seen a couple of
Yeah.
reviews from HBO. So if you're also watching HBO, me, I'm primarily on Netflix series and films and all of the stuff that they put on Netflix and some movies here and there. But for HBO or for everything else, go ahead and check Screen Kings. Now, I want to talk about
Right.
Dark. All right, so we just finished watching Dark, and it's super exciting. But I want to talk about my critics on it as well, because our review earlier, of course, is about things that we like, prefer, most of the time. But of course, here on a spoiler review, I want to talk about a couple of spoilers and things that I nitpick, from them, and
Okay.
also a couple of things that I wanted to discuss further. What could have done better, or maybe it's already good. But first, I want to ask your opinion. What do you think they could have done better on season 3, or you think it's perfect? Like nothing is bad or con on season 3 of Dark.
Honestly, I'm I am not big on when it comes to physics theory, and honestly, the make or deal break for me in this season is if they're going to pull off that parallel dimension thing. If they're going to deliver the promise that they made from the ending of season 2 and made it in such a way that it feels continuous and it feels really true to the show. So honestly, I can't think of any way. Maybe perhaps I want some of the supporting characters to be more involved. But really, when it comes down to it, and I've mentioned this in the non-spoiler review, I like that this show really settles for a much smaller and much intimate conclusion. Yeah. I mean, we're gonna talk about that
Yeah.
ending later on, but yeah, there are certain improvements here, and we've mentioned
Yeah.
this in passing, like putting on the timestamps, which really helped. And uh, I guess I can't really nitpick but
For
that
now,
much because
you're just really mind
yeah,
blown.
maybe
Mind blown.
maybe maybe I heard your input. I will take things into
Consider
consideration because
change your mind.
I really need third season to maybe make it more complex,
Yeah.
and not that I'm asking it for it, but that has been the theme of the show, and I would be disappointed if they back down on that. So introducing that parallel dimension certainly helps, and then maybe that part where dealing with different timelines, I guess they handled this that well, and the interconnected family tree. I like how they wrap these things up, and ultimately, as you near towards the ending, this has grown to something really, really like this has grown to something way beyond. Like
Yeah.
it seems more outrageous now, but in the end, it's almost veering into nonsensical. Like
Yes, that's
yeah, it's almost veering to nonsensical, but it made sense
yeah.
when they pulled that twist
Those are
towards
little,
the
those are
end.
the little things that I can notice, right? Because again, I'm thinking generally for all the people. If you probably notice me, whenever I watch a series or things like this, I don't create a review right away. I don't want to, because my hype train is still there. I'm easily hyped on a show, on a movie if it's really good, and I don't want to, what do you call this? I don't want that, hype, that emotional,
Yeah, to
turn
preempt
to, yeah,
the
to affect my
expectations.
judgment on a review. So normally, I let the hype and the emotion subside, and then I reconsider, I write things, and then
Yeah,
I reconsider what are the things that I probably overlooked. Like sometimes you really like a certain product that you don't see its mishaps, right?
yeah,
So because you just really like the shoes, you don't know that the color sucks because you just really like it. It's kind of like subjective at times, but here It's really good for a lot of stuff, like a lot of stuff. Like what I said earlier in our review, Dark may not be the top show in Netflix, but it's the best one that Netflix got. Now, what do I mean about that? This show is very different. That it's not like simple writing. It's like a lazy. It's the opposite of lazy writing, right? Lazy production. To pull off something like this is just insane. It's just absolutely bananas, right? Writing from season one up to season three on this climactic, and they talked about quantum mechanics here. I'm actually laughing while I'm watching this on season three. It's like, man, no, no, you're not gonna say, you're not gonna do that, man. You're crazy. You producer, director, writer, you're crazy. People won't follow quantum theory, right? People won't follow quantum mechanics. They wanted something to show them, like entertainment, not something like what you mentioned, like a work for the brain or brain exercise, right? A lot of
Yeah,
people probably like us, enjoys that, masochist and all, but not everyone, right? Certainly not a lot of other people out there. But again, that's what I appreciate about the show because they're not just catering for what people want, like typical, like what you mentioned, cash cow, right? If the people wants
yeah,
this, and then let's create another episode and stretch it to episode 7, even though I don't know what to write anymore. It's gaining money, it's gaining income, so let's do that, right? The writer for this show, it's like, f this. I'm gonna write something about totally messed up time travel with multiverse and all this stuff and whatever. I don't care what people think, and that's what I really
yeah.
appreciate. That you need guts to create greatness, right? Now,
True.
let me talk about real quick about what Dark is all about. All right, so because people, you might think, or we might have some audiences here watching us that doesn't really want to watch Dark, but here watching for some reason, and maybe it's okay for them to get spoiled, right? And maybe they will be interested and then watch it, even though it's already spoiled. So I'm gonna talk about that. So Dark, guys, for all of you. So Dark is a German series, right? German series in Netflix, roughly around having about 8 episode, right, per season. So Dark only has 3 season. The latest season, the finale, just released last 26, 27, just Friday, to climactic ending of it. But essentially, Dark talks about time travel. All right. So on the season one, there's a little guy called Mikkel. For some reason, you're a kid and you have some nicknames, right? But when you grow old, you will have something else. So this little guy called Mikkel, for some reason, just gone missing out of the woods. And I thought it's gonna be like what do you call this? Cliche things like that, woods, right, and
Yeah.
and ghosts and something like that. And man, when I'm like about third episode, I was like just staring on my screen and totally shocked. It's like, what the hell is happening, right? And the season two just totally blow me away there. Now, the season one, I believe it just talks about not so much on time travel by then, right? Is that right? What's the story in the season one?
Well, season one is about finding Mikkel and then discovering that it's linked to much larger conspiracy involving time travel. Then second season, we are dealt with so many timelines. I believe 5 timelines, and we are introduced with the character of Adam. I'm not sure, is Adam introduced in season one or season two? I think
Adam
season
is
two,
not
right?
Adam is not on season one. Yes,
Yeah,
on the latter part of the season three. Season one, an early stage show. Again, it's gonna fool you. There's just another cliche out there, missing in the woods. But then suddenly, it's very interesting when they showed this iconic logo of 3 years intertwining with each other, intertwined with 2019, and then 33 years before that, and then 66 years before that, right? So it's really fancy. If there's a little complaint or critic that I'm probably looking for on season three, by the way, let me jump into that, is that 33 years uniqueness and authenticity. Because on the season one, the time are really separated by 33 years, exactly 33 years, right?
Okay.
3. On season 2, they're also like tackling that, not so much about time, about multiverse, but still time travel, hopping from let's name that as timeline 1, 2, 3, right? So 3 being 2019, one is being the original one. I can remember 1987 or something, or no, 1957, right? Something like that. And then 1980 something is the middle, the two. Now, if you notice in the season 1, they're really talking about that really extensively. Like it's 33 years exactly when these guys are missing. Blah blah blah. When you reach the season 3, they're just jumping around. Have you noticed that they're like going back on a certain year that
Well,
is not included on the 3 main years on season 1? Have you noticed
I
that?
think there are five. Yeah, I think there are five timelines here. So there's 1952. Then there's we even got to a point that we were in
2021. Yeah.
18. Yeah, 18th
Yeah,
century.
very very
But
long.
yeah, yeah.
That's actually
I
unique
was not
to
okay.
the season 3. I think you're really invested in the season 3. That's why it's really clear to you by then. But on season 1, the icon actually, if you Google dark, their logo is even the logo on the what do you call the when
The
they go to,
triquetra,
yeah,
right?
when it's not when you go to the tunnel, there's like a sick mundus, something like that, right?
Sigmundus Creatus
Yes.
est.
So
Yeah, thus the world is
there's
created.
yeah, there's 3 years connected to one another at that time. So actually, that's like a good part of it as well. If you look at in a long stretch on season 1 and season 2, they're talking about 3 years connected. You can call it knot, right? The KNOT. They're knotted to each other. They're connected to each other. They're talking about exclusively years. So again, that's 2019, and then 33 years prior, and then 66 years prior. Even Martha, the older Martha, which is Eva, right? Eve in season 3 talks about this. Like, I waited 66 years. She mentioned a couple of times. But on the last season, the season 3, they're now talking about 3 worlds, right? And the last
Yeah.
world was introduced, I think, on the episode 7 already, like almost
Yeah.
at the end, right? It's like, holy smoke. It surprised me, actually. I didn't expect that there's another world, but it just dropped.
The
It just managed.
origin world.
Yeah, it just managed to drop another bomb on me on the last 2 episodes. Imagine that, right? But they're now talking about 3 years, or sorry, 3 worlds intertwined with one another. So it's actually a direct homage on their 3 years intertwined on the first year. I think that's the least that they can do without tackling or the years, because originally when you're creating theories and thinking about it, on season 1, I'm thinking, what's the relevance of the 33 years? Is there any
Yeah.
magical or scientific, like at exactly 33 years something will happen on our cosmic, or arrangement of the planets, that this will happen, so you can do timeline. Remember the cave, right? I'm thinking that
Yeah.
on exactly, because that's what they're going through. As a matter of fact, in the first year, they mentioned on exactly 33 years. But if you come to realize right now, if you think deep about this, they can time travel whenever they want. They have device, especially on season 3. They have this teleporter device that is really really cool. Like abolishes their atomic particles, and then arranging it into a different place, right? Earth 2, Earth 1, or time. They can actually do it anytime. Now I'm just thinking about the 33 years on season 1. What's the relevance of the 33 years? Do you think there was any relevance on the 33 or 66 years interval before, or not really?
I think it's mentioned as part of the lore of the show that the cycle resets every 33 years.
Yes.
And I never really bothered searching what's the relevance of 33 years in sci-fi, or in if that's
Yeah.
some part of mythology, or
I don't think there
sort of.
is.
But
I don't think there is.
yeah,
That's why I'm super
or
interested.
that's just
Yeah.
a or they're just a play on the number because
Yeah.
they're using this tree as symbol, so they went for the 33-year
Yeah.
timeline. But I'm actually looking at the Wikipedia page here, and you
There
know
is.
uh, uh
There is.
yeah, no, No, I'm just looking at the timelines that they use,
Okay.
and just to verify if we're still on the 33-year.
Yeah. They're not because
They've been
there's
consistent, right?
2019
Or no?
because on the season 3 there was 2019 because it was released 2019, right? So the year back then on the season 2 was also 2019. But right now that they released this on 2020, some of the parts on the season 3 showcase 2021, even 2057, right? The future. Now, if you compute the future, 2057, maybe that's 33 years from now, right? If you minus that. But then again, I'm just really looking for maybe a closure on what's the relevance on the 33 years. Maybe I'm just looking for something else, um, cosmic, I don't know,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
I
But
think for the part that they,
yeah,
sorry
go
to
ahead.
interrupt. I think for the part where they tackled the events of, say, for a 2021 timeline, they didn't deliberately use a travel machine there. Like they just allowed things to transpire over.
Yeah.
Like they didn't jump to 2021. But I'm looking here. I am doing a math calculation right now,
Mm.
and like for example, the earliest date we have is 1888,
That's for the season
and
3, right?
yeah,
Season 1 is not,
yeah,
it's not introduced. All right.
yeah, for the third season.
Yeah.
Okay, and when I do some 33 computations, yeah, it adds up 1888. Yeah,
1988.
for uh,
Because
yeah,
yes, I think originally because it's very interesting. Those are the things that actually um, what I call this, like, grab me. I'm looking for what happens, but in the interesting way though, I think it's just the good amount of time for a lifespan to occur. For the certain character to be relevant in the next timeline. For example, uh, I mean, Mikkel, right? He went back to the original one, or on the middle one, time two, I must say. And 33 years is enough to make him like a father for the Jonas on the present, right? If they made it like 50 years, he would have been so old. I'm also thinking that time that they just selected 33 years. But I just can't really help before to think what's happening on the 33 years because it's exactly resetting every 33 years. Does it mean that it cannot reset on 35 years, 37 years? But it looks here that they can actually time travel on whatever relevant part that they could do, at least for the for the third episode. And you mentioned we have 5 timelines right now, right?
yeah,
So it's an evolution from 3, but that's pretty good. It's just
yep. So,
I
sorry,
don't call it
but
nitpick. Mhm.
okay, but just to shed light on the 3 years, I'm just gonna read something I pulled from the internet. It takes 33 years for the cycle of lunar years to get back to the original position. A lunar
Ooh,
calendar was used in England. So yeah,
really,
I
really?
think
There is
it's
something like that?
something to do with
Mm.
the Gregorian calendar. Yeah, I just typed 33-year
Yeah,
cycle.
yeah.
So this is
So
something.
those are the things that I applaud them, and I'm interested because they might be referring into something scientific, right? Astronomical, philosophical.
Yeah,
That's why it's like, oh, it's very interesting. That's why you're gonna write it down. You will research it like what you're doing right now, right? So it's pretty cool. I think for a nitpick, if they would have could have like justified it a bit, like maybe a couple of lines, because I'm trying to remember right now, but I can't remember them anybody tackling that. It's because it's exactly 33 years that this happens. We can only go back 33 years. You can probably think that it happened, right? Somewhere there, but I'm trying to remember every episode right now. I don't think it did. Especially on this on the season 3, they're just really focused now on how to save Earth
yeah,
or world into or from apocalypse, right? So they're not really, if you actually notice, they're not really focused or surprised right now, and it makes sense because they probably used to it already,
yeah.
on the time travel aspect or who is who. Unlike in episode 1, like Katarina is just going bananas, like what the fuck? What happened to Ulrich? What happened to this? I can't believe it. Even on season 3, it's like she's still not believing that, at times. So I think if they mentioned that there's really something magical happen every 33 years on scientific basis, I would have like researched it like what you did, and it's gonna be awesome. But that's just a nitpick because on the third episode, I was so confused. Honestly speaking, I was so confused on the first parts because they introduce on my surprise they introduce new years, right? Literally new years that aren't included on the first and second one, as well
Yeah.
as combining it with new worlds. So it's like, oh, you think your brain is bleeding? Do you bleed? It's like that. I'm not gonna stop. So
Wait
it's
till you
cool.
see this.
Wait till you see this. It's like, okay, all right. But let me talk about the loop. I wanted to talk about the loop here. It's very interesting. Without the origin Earth, right? Without the origin Earth, it's just gonna be a constant loop of Earth One, Earth Two. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's interesting, right? For them to think about that. Now, wouldn't you think that it could be the case in real life? Like, I'm gonna be trippy with you right now. So I don't know,
Okay.
70 years, 70 million years ago, dinosaur, and uh, how long is the Big Bang theory started? 12 billion years. You
Oh my
you
God,
you're
don't
you're
ask me
research you,
that.
you're a researcher, right? Can you
Okay.
search Big Bang?
Okay.
I think it's twelve point
Big
five
Bang.
billion years. Big Bang.
Big
Not the.
Bang years ago,
Is it 12?
13.8 billion years ago.
How many? How many?
13.8
13
billion
for,
years
okay,
ago.
so last time I checked, it's 12 years or 13.8. Okay, so it's pretty much on the territory. So it's now 13.8 billion years ago, and we're here. Now, I don't want to think that we're something special or something, but isn't it weird, right? That along those times, nothing existed. And in the future, maybe nothing will ever will. I mean, it's kind of
You
trippy,
know
right? Because if you kind of comprehend what they trying to say, this
that
show,
there's
it's
no
loop.
beginning and end. Yeah.
Exactly. Now, let me talk about something. Let me tell about something. So, this dark, what they tackled about quantum theory, right? Quantum mechanics, quantum physics. There's an episode here with professor or with the scientist Tannhaus, my favorite character, by the way, who started it all.
Yeah.
Tannhaus.
Apparently.
Yeah. They're actually tackling a lot here. So Tannhaus started couple of started is kind of like in real life it's a hadron collider, what they call. It's it's an atomic it breaks atoms into even smaller particles, and they're trying to find new ways or new elements. So going back to electrons, atoms, neutrons, they can only go back so far up until the end, right? This is real world. I'm talking
Yeah.
about real world. So scientists right now, they still pushes the envelopes there to go even further, because our atomic level, our electrons, neutrons, is the same design as the universe. All, or at least that's what they think. Remember when you look into
Okay.
the galaxy, the universe, that's
Yeah.
how our atomic structure looks like. That's our electrons, neutron looks like. So physicists, astronomers, astrologists, and quantum theorists, they think that the universe is pretty much the same as our body. Even Neil Tyson deGrasse, my favorite astrophysicist there, he mentioned that we have universe on every each of us because our body is universe. Now, what happens is Tannhaus is trying that. It looks different though on his experiments, just like a time travel, but it's like trying to create the super hadron collider that is also featured in Big Bang Theory, the show, the funny show, the
Okay.
sitcom. But
Yeah. Yeah.
this
Yeah.
super hadron collider in real life, we have this, right? Our scientists had this, and back in, I can't remember, 2002, 2007, 2012, but along those years, they actually run it to crash the smallest particle available. They're trying to look for God particle. You heard God particle here, right, on the show. So they're trying to look for God particle there, or the quarks, what they called. Sorry, I cannot really Google so much. I cannot Google at all. I'm looking at the camera, but
No, it's
um,
okay. I'll do the work for
yeah, do the
you.
work, do the work. So just verify what I'm saying. But yeah, they're like looking for even uh, they're looking for Higgs boson. That's like the smallest particle there. So when they did it, there's actually theory afterwards about the Mandela effect. Have you heard about Mandela effect? Not yet.
No,
Okay.
I've heard it, but you need to explain it to me.
Yeah, I haven't really,
Okay, I'm gonna.
dive deep in that, but probably a couple of reads. So what happens like this? So I can't remember. Can you search what time did they run
Okay.
the collider? Is it on
How do you spell that? Sorry.
just
Wait, but
COLLID? But it's okay. Let's not bother with it.
collider.
But it's like this, yeah. So somewhere our scientists in the Earth, all right, this is real life, right? They run this last time, but they managed to. I think they managed to find a new element or at least a new particle there, but that's not the one that they're looking for, right? Higgs boson. They found a new one, a quirk, but it's kind of like expected to find. But when they find this, like an element, sorry, so like a neutron, when they find it, there's only like a couple of microseconds before it degrade and collapse. It collapses right away. Imagine how many billions of dollars they created for this project or they used for this project just to find an element like neutrons or something, matter actually. That's to find a matter that will just degrade and collapse in milliseconds, right? They're crazy, but that's what they do. This scientists of the world right now. Again, this is our real world, and the problem is by doing so, this actually what exact or what Tannhaus did pretty much. Um, Upon doing so, there's a chance of creating a black hole. Right, so that's the problem because you're trying to split matter, and there's a possibility that you will just split that and it will become unstable and create a black hole. Fifth dimension, fourth dimension, all of those gibberish. Now that's the problem. When it happened last, let's say 2007 or something like that, 2002. Let's say 2012. So it's much more scarier. Like it's like 2012, end of the world. When they did it,
Okay.
a lot of theory right now are talking about Mandela effect, like the world
Okay.
got splitted somehow, and then
Yeah.
there's some facts about the Earth right now, about the world, that is different from what we remember prior,
Oh
because
yeah.
we're not
I'm looking
living.
up the definition right now.
Is it
Yeah.
Mandela? Okay,
Yeah.
it's
But
like it's
can
like
I just mention the definition for
yes,
those who are?
please. Okay.
Yeah. So the Mandela effect is an unusual phenomenon where a large group of people remember something differently than how it occurred. So conspiracy theorists believe this is a proof of an alternate universe which we see in the third season, while many doctors use it as an illustration of how imperfect memory can be sometimes. So there are two battling schools of thought here. Okay,
Exactly.
but go ahead.
There will always be two. There will always be three. Not to mention the religious group, right? So we always have the medicine side of things. We have the theoretical physicist. Theoretical physicist doesn't have the facts of hard evidence, unlike medicine does. But medicine has a really, really hard limitation. If they cannot prove something, they don't know it anymore. Theoretical physicists, like about this quantum theory, they cannot prove it physically, but they can prove it on thought
Yeah.
experiment. So there will always be medicine and physicists theories, and then some conspiracy theories. They're talking about this launching of the collider to find the Higgs boson is like initiated what actually Doctor or Tannhaus did in Dark. It splitted our world and created something different. That's why we cannot exactly remember before and exactly how it was, because there's little changes, right? Like what Dark is showing us. And remember in Dark, if you're in a like Earth 2, the symmetry is on the other way around. You notice that?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the I don't know, the paintings, the design of things, and especially the bruises, right? Our body is perpendicular with one another, as if we're just split it in two, right, right in the middle of our body. So if you notice Martha her bruises like changes. The first time that I saw this, I was actually so confused. The son of Martha, which I will discuss a little
Yeah.
bit further. The
His
killers.
cleft palate.
Exactly. What do they call that?
Yeah. Cleft palate.
Cleft palate. I just call it unge or something bingot. But that one, it changed position, and I'm like super. What the fuck is
Yeah.
happening? I said, because I didn't realize by then that they're talking about if it's an Earth one, it's gonna be like this. It's an Earth two, it's gonna be like this. So that's absolutely bananas. However, going back to Mandela, that's what actually they tackled. They tackled that if you ask older people where is the Liberty or the Statue of Liberty is located, they will tell you it's located in Liberty Island or something like that. But in reality, it's not. It's located on the, I don't know, Freedom Island or something different. And then the
Wow.
older people will never accept that. No, 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 no. It's always there. It's always there. Why are you telling me other stuff? So that's what they call Mandela effect. They talk about
Wow.
the signs like, I don't know, I can't remember exactly, but like a Hello Kitty or Nissan, something like that. It's like different. I think it's Looney Tunes, right? They're talking about Looney Tunes having this spelling before, but right now everybody noticed that it's a different spelling than what we remember when we're kids. So they're talking about this stuff, and I was surprised that the dark actually went into this. This is what we called many worlds interpretation of quantum physics. I have one favorite quantum physics professor, right, Dr. Sean Carroll. You can probably search for him. If you're into science, just go ahead and check his podcast format in YouTube as well. It's called Mindscape. He got around 1 to 2 hours talks in each episode, but it's absolutely insane. So it's talking about universe, quantum theory, and anything, but it's really, really good, top notch. Now, Sean Carroll follows many worlds interpretation of quantum physics. Again, one of those interpretation, and the interpretation of that many world is, by the way, that's from Hugh Everett, the father of that interpretation. From the name itself, it says many worlds, so that means there's Earth one, Earth two, and to your surprise, probably an infinite amount of worlds. As a matter of fact, infinite amount of universe. So it's just mind blowing, right? Why? This is discussed in Dark as well, I think. So
Yeah.
there's what we call quantum state. All right, now listen carefully, all right, guys that are listening there. I'm not expert in this, so let's try to decode this. So there's a quantum state, or there's something in quantum physics that is called quantum state. All right. So quantum state is a state of being, specifically a particle, is a state of being in two positions at once. I think you can probably remember Tannhaus
Yeah.
discussing this, right? So, on a simple way to put it, it's like you do have a clock that goes clockwise and then counterclockwise at the same time. So just imagine that happening. It's it's unimaginable, right? That's the very first impression and reaction when I first listened to Sean Carroll and to some other when I started studying this quantum mechanics. It's like, oh man, I want to smoke whatever you're smoking. It's like that, right? It's the electrons, right? The particle, the electrons. So it spins clockwise, and then it spins counterclockwise at exactly the same time. That's why it's called superposition, right? This is the heart of quantum physics, the position. Quantum physics has the quantum mechanics, quantum physics is just the same. The heart of that is the superposition, which is the quantum state, and what they called measurement. Those are the big words that you will hear. So Tannhaus in the Dark discussed that a bit. I don't know if you paid attention, but he discussed that. I'm like nerding out. Oh my god, this show is just crazy. He probably smoked whatever Sean Carroll smoked as well. So now what's happening there is that remember Tannhaus explained the Schrodinger's cat. right? That's the very
Yeah,
popular
yeah.
one. So Schrodinger's, of course, from Schrodinger. I think that's I think Schrodinger's is Australian, but it's like a physicist before, father of quantum physics as well. He wanted to persuade people about the Copenhagen interpretation. So many words. So he did a thought experiment. It's a cat. It's a very, what do you call this, layman, a very simple one, so people would understand, right? So inside the box, I'm gonna just explain to you. Uh, by the way, we might have some people. What do you call that? PETA, the one that doesn't like
Yeah.
killing animals. So we're not gonna kill any cats here. So inside the box, a closed box, there's a cat, right? The original Schrodinger's says that there's a cat and there's what do you call this, poisonous gas that a radioactive one, right? That will kill the
Yeah.
cat. But let's change it a bit for PETA guys. So we have a cat and we have a sleeping, what do you call this? Sleeping smoke, right? Something like that. Sleeping gas. All right.
Yeah.
Now that sleeping gas is leaking, right? So it's there. Now when you open it up, there's a possibility that you will see a cat, a woke up cat, right? Or an awakened cat that, is like staring at you and is awakened, or a sleeping cat, right? So it's about possibility. But you will only really see that when you open it, right? You're following me so far? So it
Yeah.
only happens, right? The claim is ridiculous, all right? Quantum theory is on the borderline crazy. I'm going to be honest to you. It's like our minds will not think of it as sensical because it's like our minds are programmed on traditional physics, right? Physical things.
Yeah.
So if they explain something like that, it's all BS to us, right? So this is the superposition. That's his thought experiment. When you open the box, you will see either a live or a cat. The dark actually explained this a bit, not directly on Jonas. Remember, there's a scene when Martha teleported to Earth One, right, for the very first time, to grab Jonas, who is still mourning on the death of the Earth One Martha. You
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
that? So Martha is wearing the jacket. She already has this car, and she just run. She just got the teleporter from Magnus, right? But all right, on the latter episode, they're discussing that there's another Martha going back. However, Bartos, right? Bartos followed her and prevented her in getting Jonas. You saw that?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it actually happened at the same time, but it's just
Yeah.
split. It happens on two probability, so it's not either or.
Yeah.
It's both. Now that's the
Yeah.
Schrodinger's cat. When you open the box, all right, this is what they claim. It's really really trippy. When you open the box, there's actually you. All right, there's actually a copy of you somewhere in the universe that saw the cat as dead, as sleeping.
Right.
But there's
Yeah.
another copy of you that saw the cat as awake. So that's the
Yeah.
superposition. The what do you call this? The measurement is the important one, and that's the quantum entanglement. That's what they call quantum entanglement. That means that the electron, that's what they're focusing on for quantum physics. However, that's part of molecules, atoms, and essentially that's part of everything, every matter, right? Including us.
Yeah.
So we're also in our quantum state. That means that if we interact with another matter, with another like electrons or something, we can put a measurement on it, what we call, that's what we use with our eyes, our senses. We will quantum entangle ourselves to that matter, and it's gonna cause its quantum state, its waveform. Sorry, I'm putting a lot of jargons here, but there's what they call wave function. It's kind of like a waveform, but it's a wave function. It's like a fabric of universe, or fabric of quantum universe. That's what they call. It's like going. Just imagine just going up and down, and then when you put measurement, when you pick up something, you entangle your something with you, and it you either catch it on the high peak of that wave function or in the low peak, right? It's either off or on. If you think about it, it's kind of like digital, right? But but it's happening at the same time, and you're just one part of it. Now it's ridiculous because Mandela Dark, they're discussing this. On the Dark, you only have three worlds, as a matter of fact, right? The origin,
Yeah.
Earth 1, Earth 2, but they did not mention that there's no other one, or it's impossible to have one, because on many worlds interpretation, you have an infinite amount of worlds happening every freaking day, and this is not a TV show. It's real life. Now, what do you think about that take? Do you believe any of those, or these scientists are just really trippy?
You know, yeah, I actually bought those concepts, and I'm really delighted that they put that into the show. But they need to showcase it in a more simplistic manner. So
Exactly.
we are just presented with two universes, but the idea of having infinite alternate realities are also mentioned in the show, I believe.
Is it
So
good?
yeah, yeah, it is mentioned because yeah, if that's one of the possibilities of the Martha either going for Jonas and Martha leaving Jonas to go into his own personal bunker. So the mention the mention stated, I believe, that what are the other possibilities of outcomes. And yeah, I think the first time I encountered really Mandela, and I just realized this now, is on Avengers Endgame. There's a scene where the Hulk and
Oh, did they?
Gra- yeah, the Avengers Endgame. I think there's a scene between Hulk and I forgot her name, the master of Doctor Strange. They were talking about taking the Infinity Stones and putting it in the present timeline from the past to the present, and by doing so, you are going to split two possibilities, two alternate realities. That one
Yeah.
didn't really click for me until I've seen Dark, and that concept, that Schrodinger cat concept,
Yeah.
is really interesting. I
Yeah.
don't think it will sell to all because
Yeah.
but then this show has really really veered into so much physics stuff that it almost feels like an abstract
Yeah.
text. So I was willing to indulge themselves on
That's what I'm
that
talking
part.
about. That's what I'm talking about being different, because normally the shows, other shows, right? I'm talking about other shows. Their goal is to entertain us, right? Or give us, I don't want to say false hope, but give us like romance. So if you're sad and you're single, you can at least watch your idol, being romantic with some other, and you're gonna be killing and all, right? Those are the shows that sells, right? So ultimately, they're after money, right? Dark, it's just after their whatever message they want. The writer for this is probably either physicist or really really fond of physics, and he just wanted to deliver his enthusiasm, right? He didn't give an f about what people think about this,
Yeah,
being abrupt or being 3 seasons only. He just, nah, I'm done, I just want to convey my message. And it's super cool, right? Because
yeah,
you're getting like a quality show that is true to itself, not just catering fans so that you can get money or anything,
agreed,
right?
agreed.
Now, you notice the position, or the place where they're always gathering and starting this up is on the bunker, right? Do you
Yeah.
know why? Like
Do you know?
they saw Mads appearing on the bunker, right?
Yeah. Uh, I don't know what's the significance of the bunker,
You
but
don't
we've
know?
seen the bunker transform from. Oh no, yeah, the significance
You
of the
know
bunker, of
that.
course,
You know
is
that.
of
I
course,
thought so. You're gonna think of
anyone
that.
who got stuck in the bunker will be saved by the impending apocalypse. But over time, we've seen that bunker transform also throughout the timelines.
What
So,
What do you think is the
uh,
exact reason why why Mads appear in the bunker as a
oh
dead
my
kid?
God, you're
Remember? Yeah.
really testing me now. Because that's where they did the experiments, right?
Exactly,
So I
exactly.
believe
So
that they
yeah,
were, and I think I've read this somewhere that Tannhaus did. I mean, sorry. Helge and Noah didn't really murder those kids. They were trying to transport those kids
Yeah,
into a different timeline, and in the process, they're dying.
that's
So
right.
that's what's happening. So
That's right.
yeah,
But exactly the reason why, remember when all of the gang, the kids, at least teenagers, they went into the bunker, and then they saw what do you call this? Mads appearing for the first time. They were surprised. I think this is on, I can't remember what earth is this. But Martha and the guys, they were surprised because a kid suddenly fell, and it looks like Mads, but it's impossible because Mads is brother of Ulrich, and Ulrich is already old, father of Martha, right? That's why Ulrich is really mad at Martha, saying, "Are you taking something? Are you taking something?" Ulrich thought that Martha is taking drugs with Killian and all, right? But they're actually telling the truth. Mads, the real Mads, the kid from the past, 33 years ago, just suddenly appeared on the bunker. Why? Remember when Mads appeared? There's a rift, a tear. It's called a tear, all right? A tear in our
yeah,
universe. By the way, of course, we're part of the universe. And it opened like a rift, and then Mads just dropped from it, right?
yeah,
They're experimenting, right? Before and the future and the past. They're experimenting in the past. The problem is black hole, right? That's what they created there. That's why it's like apocalypse, and the big thing is like a black hole. It's literally a black hole, right? You see, they're expanding black doom. That's a black hole, killing the Earth. That's their apocalypse, black hole. What happens is that they're messing up with the black matter. The dark matter. Dark lives matter, by the way, guys. But the dark matter, that's actually what they're experimenting at. Dark matter, by the way, if you don't know, dark matter is the matter in our universe, along with the dark energy. I think 85% is dark matter, and the rest is dark energy. And only physical matter like us is less than 5%, even less than 1% of the universe. But the rest is dark energy and dark matter. And the problem is, up until to this point, nobody, no scientist, no physicist can decode or can explain what dark matter is. It's just darkness. They don't know what substance is this. They don't know. What we do know, what scientists know, is our universe is expanding continuously. It doesn't stop, and the expansion of our universe is getting faster. It's kind of scary, right? I'm scaring you now. It's getting faster to the point that we will one day reach the total darkness. That's like what they mentioned at the dark. The universe will expand and expand because of this. What do they call this? It's on the tip of my tongue, but there's the energy that pushes dark matter to each other again and again, up to the point that we cannot really see the sun anymore or other planets or anything. It's just all darkness. So it's kind of scary, but don't worry. It's not, of course, on our lifespan. It's gonna happen really, really far away. But that's what's happening. Uh, that's why it's Big Bang, right? There's a Big Bang. It started with Big Bang, and then it's just expanding. It's like a continuous explosion. But anyway, on the show, they're playing with this dark matter. You know, the little ball that Martha used to teleport. That's actually a concentration of dark matter in a ball that she uses to teleport. But Adam or Jonas actually used that. Mid Jonas, right? The Jonas with beard and all. He's experimenting that to create a black hole. What he's actually trying to do is to create a black hole. Why a black hole? On the black hole, the gravity is so fast, there's no time. Time is irrelevant. So there's like future, past, present. It's just irrelevant. That's why when Mads disappeared from previous like Earth, what do you call this? Year one, suddenly appeared on year two. For Mads, if he's alive, it's just like split second. I mean, it's no biggie. It's not 33 years, just the same, because he entered the black hole and split it on the same bunker, right? But it already passed 33 years. In the black hole, time is irrelevant. There's no time, actually. Time is just a word. That's why they're playing with the black hole, trying to do teleporting like that using the black hole energy. Now, I really, really love how Dark is approaching this, or Dark approached this at least, because they really went scientific on a lot of stuff. But the problem is, since quantum theory is borderline crazy, you will see a lot of crazy things as well. Like the dark matter, whenever it manifests, maybe critics, what I call it, skeptics, those are the parts that they will laugh on the show, right? Because they're saying, "Come on, what is that? What is that? Is that like a ray gun or an energy ball?" Right? So if they're like, it's like this critic, if they're trying to create a real show, not like an anime or a magical one. Why am I seeing a black orb of something there, a dark one, and then why is this character being obliterated, disintegrated, and teleporting as a magician, as an anime character, right? Because our minds are not yet programmed to understand those things. Basically, pretty much the same as caveman won't understand how computer or cell phone works nowadays. You getting me
Yeah.
there? So if you
Yeah,
show
yeah.
if you show an iPad Pro to a caveman before, and us doing Discord and talking over this digital wireless and whatever, a caveman will absolutely go crazy, right? Like what the hell are you doing? You're like a magic people. You're a magician, right? It's probably exact same thing that we're gonna say if we see Martha just getting disintegrated in front of us because she managed to use the dark matter to teleport, right? So I'm actually talking about that on our review. I'm still hoping, call me crazy or anything, but I'm still hoping that on our lifespan right now, aside from still not having flying cars like what we imagine, but I'm still hoping that one day they can actually really think of something to reverse time, right? Or to do time travel. Even aging, right? I think there's some products right now that can prevent somebody from aging, like Korean cosmetics or something. But literally, scientists out there, they're still working, they're still looking for something. The main problem is the gravity itself. They cannot quantize gravity. That's why it's prohibiting them in moving forward. But as soon as scientists, physicists manage to quantize gravity, I think we can move forward and they can do something about time travel. Maybe dark will happen. Can watch it again in the future.
Yeah, I mean, wow, you mentioned a lot of stuff. I guess the show needs to. I mean, there's still a duty of the show to present it to the public. They can't really alienate people that much. So when it comes to the artistic choices of showing that dark energy ball, some scientists or physics enthusiasts like you might laugh at it, but that's the presentation that will sell to the audience because this is a TV show and it needs to balance its duties on indulging itself
As a matter of
on
fact, I
shedding
think
light on the physics
not
and
not
yeah.
not like a scientist speaking or saying anything. Of course, I'm no scientist, but as a matter of fact, I'm not the one, or I don't think scientists or physicists are the ones gonna laugh on it. If they will, they probably out of joy because somebody has the guts to show what they're imagining. But as a matter of fact, they actually did a really fantastic job in presenting the unstable what I call this unstable black matter, because it's instability. You know why it's like crashing like that, because it's unstable. Once it become calm and it's like a ball, then it's stable. And on our thought processes of our scientists, physicists, it's actually like that. The electron neuron, when they check that on a really really microscopic, microns and everything, they see that as in superposition. When like it's darkness and then there's light, it's very unstable, and then there's one time that it will be stable. It's happening at the same time. It's unstable and unstable. That's why they mentioned this superposition. And I'm really happy actually when they're portraying it. It's like that. The problem is, since dark matter is outside our universe, it's not inside, like here right now that we're breathing, we don't know how it looks or what's the texture or how it how do you perceive that. So when you see it on television, it's like a CGI, right?
Yeah.
It's like a CGI. Again, like what I said, a caveman doesn't know how a modern PS4 looks. It's just the same, right? So it's really difficult for the show to convey the message. However, I think they did a great job. It just saddens me though. It's just 3 seasons, right? It's like I have so many questions in mind, and being enthusiastic about this, I wanted more. Like I wanted to really
Yeah.
tackle, discuss things, and really go to the superposition, and then even explore the universe and things. But I mean, that's what we get. But I'm really hoping
Yeah.
that more can come out of that, on the success.
Yeah, I guess they need to stick on what they planned through. You've said that they wrote a material for good for 3 seasons, and extending this would be to just to deal with
Yeah.
more scientific concepts will really make this show a stretch on a storytelling perspective. But on the ending, okay, let's talk about we're jumping right there to her being named Jonas.
Just
But
yeah, just your quick
yeah,
thoughts about that. Of course, we're gonna talk about a lot of things, but
yeah,
I'm just interested.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think the possible I don't think it will be our same Jonas.
Yeah, it's one
You
of those
know,
worlds,
yeah,
and that's
because
that's what I'm talking
the
about, right? They introduced 3 worlds, but they're like teasing us for more, right?
yeah, and obviously because Hannah's partner now is Torben Waller,
Yeah.
and the guy who never got to explain the reason why he got his eye on an accident. But yeah, yeah, I guess the existence of Jonas, but I like to believe that the ending falls on a positive note. Some of them, the viewers may argue like, "Oh, this is
Yeah.
so depressing. They got erased from existence." But there was a monologue
Yeah.
towards the end about Charlotte, like, how can you be so sure that being erased from existence is really
It's
bad?
bad.
Because
Yeah.
there's it's just a neutral ground. There's no suffering, there's no joy, and somehow it feels okay.
Yeah.
That was what she said. And you know uh giving giving this line, it gave me a hope, like that somehow Jonas and Martha and their love will still thrive in the origin world. Like this, they may not manifest into their
Yeah.
actual physical, but there's something liberating, because what I like about this ending is, first of all, they got to come into terms of what they
Yeah.
are doing. So that's
Redemption.
very important to me, and that's very liberating. Because this show really hinges also on the biblical subtext. There's been a battle between Adam and Eve, and I always perceived that this time travel has been this forbidden fruit that they are playing God, and then when they realize that they are not really the masters of their own fate, they decided to live it up to the higher power. That they decided, no, I can no longer put up with this cycle, like us battling which universe deserves to live. That's that's ridiculous, because we're supposed to be existing in the first place. Like, it's like surrendering yourself to a higher power, and being the religious person that I am, I really like that's the subtext. They're not really feeding it into the audience, but that's what the impression that I'm getting. So I guess it catered to so many audiences, those who are in the scientific and those who are also on the religious part of it. And now I always believe that this show has always been tackling different themes. And yeah, I guess that's my take on it. That
Do you think on the 13.8 billion years that we've been here since Big Bang, it doesn't really happen to us? Maybe when we die, that's what they call reincarnation. This everything just cycles on a different Earth, like the Mandela effect. Maybe we're not living in the Earth one anymore. Maybe we're in the Earth 32,400, right? It just keeps on
yeah, I
cycling. We
know.
don't know. So it's pretty crazy. Like when you die, this is the other reason, or the other thing that is unknown, right? That is on the unknown place. When you die, what's gonna happen to you? Nobody knows, right? Of course, religious people will
Yeah.
say you're gonna go to heaven and all. Still unproven. Medicine says you're gonna say it's light, it's heaven because that's the operating table when you die. Scientists says we don't know. Scientists actually asking for not for volunteer, but if just in case you died and then you managed to come back, go ahead and approach me and tell me what you saw on the other side. But don't tell me that you see angels or anything. I wanted you to see if there's any tables there, if you can see the top of my cup, if you're floating. They're very scientific, right? They're very technical. Nobody does that. Nobody did prove them the life after life. Now, what if there's really no afterlife? Like if you died, you're just gonna go into a different like what they're doing, different Earth, and you live there. It's pretty crazy, right? I just realized that the lights went out on that dinner. We're kind of focusing on that. Those are Katarina's and who else? That's like 1988 or something like that, right? But I think that's not the time when Tannhaus, or at least when the kids of Tannhaus are about to die. Is that right? I mean, when Jonas and Martha return to save the eventual death of or accident of the son of Tannhaus and the wife. What timeline is this? I think that's even older, right?
Yeah, I think no, I think yeah, that's even older. So possibly,
That's even older because Charlotte is baby, right? And on Earth One, Charlotte and Martha and I mean sorry, Charlotte and Hannah and Katarina, they're like all ages, right? But on that part, on that scene, Charlotte, or at least the baby named Charlotte, is still a baby. That means it places it on the original time one, 33 years before the dinner, right? So it's definitely not because of or the lights out. Definitely, it's not because of Tannhaus,
yeah, yeah,
turning on the collider, the project, because it's 33 earlier, and it's also not because of Jonas and Martha preventing or teleporting, preventing the death of the son because it's 33 years older as well. I think it's just like I don't know. They just created that to strengthen Hannah's argument that I've seen this already going dark,
okay.
going brown out, blackout, and eventually say that she's gonna name, or she's gonna name the baby Jonas. But what do you think about that? Why is she thinking that the best name will be Jonas? Isn't that going to be like? It's she also talked about deja vu, right? So that means that the other lifetime or the other Earths, the other timeline still occurred because she's talking about
You know
deja
what?
vu,
I
right?
think she mentioned the name Jonas because she already thought of that in the very beginning. So no matter what reality we're going to embark and singing as true as for the original timeline, like Charlotte, Hannah was
Because
supposed
she's
to
staring on the
name
jacket.
the her son Jonas, and that jacket I can never really tell the origin of if that was hers that she passed on to her son. Yeah, but when it comes to the light outs, yeah, we got that wrong. But if yeah,
But that's the scene. If you come to think of it, the relevance of the last scene. Why did they even put it there? Right. The last scene of Jonas and Martha disintegrating or essentially disappearing, and then all of the other deaths, by Thanos flicker, by Thanos snap. It's a good ending already, right? But they put like an epilogue showing a dinner among these groups of individual, and then Hannah is just weirdly staring on the jacket as if something is being reminded to her about that, right? And then suddenly she said, "I already seen
yeah,
this. Everything darkness. That's apocalypse." Right? It's like the other lifetime or the other Earth is like she's remembering deja vu because they also discussed deja vu earlier, right? Deja vu is like their past, whatever they do on the other lifetime. I think it's just like a tease. It's really like like it's not a cliffhanger, but it's like a good ending to make us think
yeah.
like this, make us discuss,
Yeah,
right?
there are a lot of unsolved mysteries, and it, I I know that, I've mentioned this show will be dissected for at least a decade or so. I really believe on that. As long as we have these new scientific concepts going around. That scene, I would like to think of it as there's something mentioned about a positive feedback loop. I believe Claudia mentioned that. I mean, as long as you repeat the cycles, part of your memory from your previous life will be remembered. So I think that also, and this is me again speculating, that also contributed on what led her to that moment when she fixated her eyes on this yellow jacket and then named her son as Jonas. I think that's it. That's a part of it. Yeah, and can we? Yeah, can we?
Maybe, maybe because the Earth 2 and the Earth 1 didn't really existed anymore because they managed to save the kids, right, and become successful. But again, there's a lot other worlds out there, right? They have a lot of Jonas and something, and Hannah's just having deja vu. On scientific theory, they mentioned that this universe should never and can never
Yeah,
intertwine with one another. I'm like, it's there. Like right now, we may have like millions of multiverse out there, millions of versions of ourselves, but we can never interact with them. And that's the essence of this dark show. They are focusing about the knot, right? What Tannhaus did, creating world, he actually didn't create world. He didn't just create world. Worlds are already there. It's quantum theory. It's always there. He he intertwined. He connected the word, right? So that's what happened when he did the experiment. He messed up the two worlds to have a loop, to have a constant loop instead of just having multiverse,
yeah,
quantum physics. He just initiated like a knot. He like tied a knot to two worlds, which just constantly looping again and again, and that's what Regina is experiencing. By the way, what are your thoughts about some weird stuff here, like Charlotte stealing her kid, which is Charlotte.
uh,
Is that
I
right?
think
She's stealing
it's
herself.
Elizabeth who stole Charlotte. Yeah,
Elizabeth, sorry. Elizabeth is stealing
yeah.
the mother,
I just thought of that
and she's
as
like
a
mourning,
catalyst event. Like that is Charlotte. Yeah, as a
like a
catalyst
trigger.
event
Oh,
because that need to happen
ah,
so that Noah
yeah.
would would have planted seeds of doubt on Jonas, and for the
No, well,
because this is a loop, this is a causal effect that we never really know the
I think
origin of it. So yeah,
yeah. This is there's the
yeah,
paradox there now, right? This is now the paradox. But then, oh wow, Dark is pretty smart in creating explanation for this paradox. Just one word
yeah,
loop, right? Remember, that's the normal problem with timeline. The like the
yeah,
chicken and
yeah,
egg paradox. But Dark addressed this as a loop, and there's like a trigger point, which is Stanhouse, because Elizabeth is stealing Charlotte, which is essentially her mother, right? Who actually accompanied her to steal
yeah,
Charlotte. Is that right? Now, so that means that the baby was stolen by
yeah,
by Charlotte as well, because Charlotte and
yeah,
connivance there. But then and then Noah suddenly became like a priest to look for Charlotte. But then that eventuality will still happen, right? Whatever they're trying to do, it will still happen, right? It's like Charlotte will still go to that world or to that place, and then it's gonna steal the baby. It's like happening on constant loop. Like Martha killed
yeah,
Jonas. She was so surprised that her other version killed Jonas, but that's actually her after a couple
yeah,
of episodes, right?
yeah,
So I think that's really mind-boggling. I think those are the things that you will really scratch your head like, oh
yeah.
come on,
Because
man. Good thing they added Earth 2 or other worlds, because it's really difficult to explain in
yeah,
one
because
word only.
the main arc of these characters, especially for Jonas and Martha, is trying to prevent their future selves and not knowing that some along the way they're gonna be persuaded to become themselves, and it's a main argument that's been pointed out by the show. Like if you're gonna know what's happened in the future, what's going to happen in the future. You going to still do the same steps that you did today? So right in
Yeah.
throughout their journey, they're doubting themselves. Like, I don't want to be this person for Jonas and Martha in her respective world, but we just came to the fact that no matter what they're doing, they're going to bound to do the same. Like, it doesn't matter what time and what manner, they're just bound to do the same things over and over again, and thereby feeding this infinite loop that they're really experiencing. So yeah.
Just one question, maybe you can enlighten me. Who's is it Silja? Who's Silja, and what's
Yeah,
the
Silha.
Silja? What's the relevance on? She's like the daughter of Hannah, but she's like the wife of
Yeah.
Bartos. Is that right?
Okay. I made this on my notes. I made a family tree. So Hannah and Egon had a daughter.
Yeah.
It's Silha. Then Silha will later marry
Mary.
Bartosz. So they're gonna have a son, Noah and Agnes. And Agnes will get married. Will end up with Trance, who's the father of Ulrich. So you've seen four families. They're now interconnected, like,
Yeah.
really. So yeah, I think the way they did that, yeah, almost it felt nonsensical. Like, why are they doing that? But then
Pregnancy.
once we're introduced with the idea that these are just alternate realities that's not supposed to be
Yeah.
existing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
So
that's
in the end,
it's genius adding alternate reality.
yeah,
That's the word. Because if you remember on the season 2, there's no alternate reality, or there's no world 2, right? They cannot really pull it off because it's gonna be paradox. I mean, you cannot steal your kid on your own timeline. The
yeah,
challenge here, I mean, the fix that they did is introducing another world, and of course you can steal the other version there, or do this and that, right? Have a kid in the other version. It's pretty good. But yeah, I think that's my overall thoughts about it. I really love the show. I hope there's some. This is like a Greek mythology that I've been looking for in Netflix. Like, I wanted to
yeah,
have Greek mythology up until now. There's really no good Greek mythology, but they gave us something like this, which I also wanted deeper, and hopefully a lot other producers out there produce something like this. Right? Don't you agree?
yeah. I definitely agree. This is something that I will watch again for sure. And I know if I watch this show again, I'm going to learn and pick up on things that I haven't
Good idea.
noticed.
Good idea. I'm
Yeah,
gonna probably do
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah. Talking about that positive feedback loop that Claudia mentioned, once you repeat the cycle all over and all over again, you're gonna learn better. And I think that's the same case that's going to happen to me. So yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of things that we can't really discuss, but guys, if you have any floating theories, like, feel free to comment, because
Yeah.
if you want to counteract what we said, we would love to really hear from you.
Yeah, I would actually love that. I mean, guys, if you think, I absolutely think that there's somebody out there thinking that we're wrong, because I'm thinking I'm wrong most of the time. So yeah, if you guys have any theory about this, especially about quantum mechanics and quantum physics in general, what do you think? I mean, this show tackled this. Given an opportunity for people maybe like you, right, like other people out there that doesn't
Yeah,
really, you know, give anything or any time in tackling quantum theory. It's just not. It's kind of like wasteful, right? But this show
yeah,
gave an opportunity for us all to have a taste on what superposition is, what quantum theory
yeah,
is. So, guys, if you
yeah,
have any contribution, like any thoughts about it, any theories yourselves, anything, I would actually like to see some nitpicks and some loopholes as well. If you have any scientists out there, anything that really digs deeper on what happened, just go ahead and comment down below what you think are loophole. Like, you think having a kid with the other Earth is impossible, or stealing your own mother is impossible. Just go ahead and put down the comments below. Let me know your thoughts. This is Podform by Glenn Thoughts, so we're always talking about thoughts here. But yeah, do you have any final message, Kevin, for all of our audience out there? Maybe you can plug your channel as well. We have the review there.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm really glad that I got to have this conversation with you. For those who are just tuning in now, we did a non-spoiler review. Go ahead and check my channel, youtube.com/ScreenKings. We do reviews, movies, TV shows, and since Netflix is the only main thing that's going on right now, we do a lot of that. And we also ventured into video games. And I would like to say I'm really thankful that I've got to have this conversation with you, especially that you've enlightened me with some physics concepts. You've really put a lot of interesting pitches in there, and just join our conversation. Like, comment down below. We'd like to hear from you. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Thanks so much. It's also a pleasure, of course, to have a co-YouTuber talk about this. It's always a pleasure. So, good luck with your new gaming reviews. I'm into gaming as well, so I'm pretty sure I'm gonna tune into that. But good luck to your channel. All right. More power to you, guys. Again, visit this channel at ScreenKings. Just go ahead and search it. You'll definitely like their content. All right. But that's all for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Again, click the like button if you like this video, comment down below, share if you want your other friends to view or to view this or watch this as well. Just go ahead and share this. But guys, thanks so much for watching. Stay safe and see you on the next one. Peace.